Now, who is ready to talk about divorce? I am. In fact, I just did. And I am feeling prepared, okay? To get married and honestly to get divorced. Am I still single? Yes. Is there no one on the horizon? You bet. But after talking with Alex Diaz, I feel like I'm ready to get those prenups locked and loaded. Okay, she is a divorce attorney based in Los Angeles. And she has seen, I think, truly the worst of it all. You know, I think you hear these horror stories of people taking their spouse to court, and she's lived it. In fact, she lives it all the time. So, you know, for those who are married, for those who are divorced, and everything in between, I think this is a very fruitful episode to glean information on, you know, maybe whether or not you want to get married, whether or not you want to get the law involved in the boudoir, in your personal lives, because maybe after listening to this, you won't want to. Or maybe it will make you feel that much more prepared going into tying the knot, because, you know, I don't think a prenup's a bad thing. In fact, I know it's not, especially after this episode. So go return that lab diamond engagement ring and welcome to Open Wide. Okay, Miss Alex.
Hi.
We're here on a Sunday.
Yes.
We made it. I'm so grateful you took time out of your day, because I know you're probably working some fucked up hours. We're going to talk divorce.
Yeah, the nitty gritty.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
About it all, or just today?
Just in life today. Let's do a little check-in.
I'm feeling good.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Sunday scaries are hitting.
Okay.
But like, it's a beautiful day. We've had pretty shitty weather. Can I curse on?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, the weather's been pretty shit. So today is like the first beautiful day. So I'm happy to be out. This is my first outing of the day.
I love it.
Even though it's 2 p.m.
I love it. Well, I have a semantics question to hit you with.
Okay.
And this may be a really dumb question. I just want to preface by saying that.
No, hit me.
What is the difference between a divorce attorney and a divorce lawyer?
Okay, so that is more of a general question, because I do think a lot of people interchange attorney and lawyer. Attorney is you have passed the bar. You have taken the bar, you have that little ESQ behind your name, you've gotten sworn in. A lawyer is typically someone that has just gone to law school. So you are like a scholar of the law.
But you didn't
have
pass
that
the bar.
JD, but you either haven't passed or maybe just haven't taken it yet.
Okay.
So that's like the real difference. Like, not everyone, like, I can be a lawyer and an attorney, but not everyone could be
An attorney.
Wait,
so can you be practicing law without having passed the bar?
No.
Oh.
So you could be like a legal assistant, you could be like a law clerk, you could be like a paralegal.
Okay.
Like, a lot of people that don't pass the bar usually go the paralegal route, just because they have that knowledge and foresight to be able to engage with the law. But for example, like, they can't appear in court. Like, their name can't be the one on the final motion that you submit to the court. But they can obviously prepare and, you know, assist you in whatever capacity that, like, the attorney feels comfortable with.
And once you pass the bar, do you have to take it again, like in the future? No.
Well, unless you want to go to another state. So every state's different. Like, California, you take it, you're good. California and New York are like two of the harder ones.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Why is that? I heard, honestly, because of California, it's like agricultural. That's a lie. That's the real estate exam. I learned with, like, trying to pass the real estate exam, there's, like, laws about agriculture and random shit.
There's a lot. But honestly, it's, like, kind of akin to that. Like, California and New York are obviously some of the more liberal countries, and the laws are changing more quickly than some of the more conservative states. Did I say countries?
That's
States.
okay. Honestly, in ways, California is a country. We like to believe it is. No, words are hard.
New York and California are obviously the more progressive states.
Yeah.
So that causes, just their laws to be a bit harder.
Okay.
And there are other states that have what's called the UBE. So it's kind of like a blanket test that you can take, and you can get barred in several states. So I don't know all of the states, but I know like Florida is included in that.
Okay.
Maybe. Like Nevada, I think, is one of them. But
then what's the mini bar that Kim Kardashian took? What is that?
I can't with that. She's been in law school for like 7 years.
Yeah.
No shade. I like her. It's crazy.
I had never even heard of a mini bar.
So the mini bar is essentially the precursor to taking the bar exam, typically for people that haven't attended like traditional law school. So to my understanding, the mini bar encompasses what you would be taught like your first year of law school. So it's like torts, so like injury, like crim law, civil procedure, what else? Property, like contracts. Those are like the main 5 that you take your first year, your 1L year. So it's essentially to make sure that you are well prepared to take the actual bar.
So if her passing the mini bar does not mean she's a practicing.
No.
Okay.
She still has to take the big one, which is like 2 days long.
Okay.
It's like 8 hours each day.
Holy shit.
Like it's a whole thing.
I have friends who have taken the bar, and I did not see them for like a solid 2 months.
Yeah.
Leading up to it. Like, I think it's capital T trauma. Like, the prep for it.
Honestly, like, I went on antidepressants during
That
my bar
bad?
prep. I, was a shell of a person. Barely saw my friends and family.
Oh, yeah.
But luckily, my cousin, she is my best friend. She's a year older than me. We were taking it at the same time.
Oh,
so
camaraderie.
Yeah, so we would like wake up at 9. She'd come over to mine. I'd go over to hers. We'd nap for 15. We'd take a practice exam. We'd quit. So like it really did make the whole thing better because she was like my best friend.
Suffering with someone is exponentially better.
Yeah, the trauma was there, but she reduced it so much.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was. All things considered, it was really nice.
Well, so then, okay, when you take the bar, or I guess law school in general, is it kind of like med school in that you decide what avenue of law you want to go in by the 2nd or 3rd year, and then, like, did you know you wanted to be a divorce attorney? Or is everyone learning the same stuff and then you jump off? Like, when does it get specialized?
So, honestly, it's so person dependent. Like, some people apply to law school with like a fellowship in mind. So like some people can do entertainment or like public interest. So like they go into law school thinking, okay, I want to be an entertainment lawyer, a contract lawyer, or work for like the ACLU. I was not one of those people. I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. I really thought I wanted to be an entertainment lawyer and like do contracts all day and like redline and do deal memos. So that's essentially what I specialized in law school. Like I did copyright and trademark, and
so you're taking classes specifically for that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I got to pick my like elective courses after the 1L year. So 1L year, every single person, no matter what your chosen path is, everyone takes the same classes. Your 2L year is kind of when you have some more leeway to explore what you might be interested in. So that's where I was like, okay, I'm going to take copyright. I'm going to take like entertainment negotiations. I personally hated it. Not for everyone. It was a lot of math. It was a lot of just redlining.
And redlining is crossing stuff out?
Redlining is, like looking at contracts essentially and crossing it out or negotiating like different numbers within the margins, those types of things.
Ooh.
And to me, I just was a little bit more passive than I wanted to be. So I was like, not for me. But going into law school, I very much applied on a whim. Everyone in my family is an attorney, so I thought, like,
Stop.
maybe I have it in me. So that's why, for me, I just didn't have, like, a path.
Okay.
I was just like, I'm going to figure it out when I get there. And I clerked. So clerked is, like, interned.
Uh-huh.
It's just what, I guess, people in law school say. But it's essentially just you're interning.
Okay.
With a couple different firms to kind of explore. I did, like, employment law. I did, like, some PI. I did some defense.
And this is while you're in school?
This is while I'm in school, yeah. Like,
So
usually during summers.
Okay. You committed to going to law school before you, like, really knew you wanted to do it? Or when you were applying, you're like, no, I'm tits out. I'm ready to go. Like, I want to jump in.
Honestly, I was, like, 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Okay.
Like, my senior year of college, I took the LSAT. And I was like, we'll just see what I get on the first go around. If it's good, I'll apply and kind of see what happens. So I applied. I did well the first time, so I didn't have to take it again. And I applied, and I just kind of went into it without really any knowledge or understanding of what I got myself into.
No way.
Yeah, which honestly, I feel like lawyers are super type A, or we get that, like, rap. I'm not type A at all, which was kind of a fun contrast to explore in law school. But I found my people there that are also kind of like me. We're just like, I want to get into this. I don't know what, but we kind of figured it out together. Yeah.
Were you like a straight A student, high school, middle school? Like, were you a really scholastic?
Yeah. I would say I was, like, obviously I did all the APs, the PSATs. I took the ACT, not the SAT.
Same girl.
It's just, like, works better. Yeah.
Yes.
SAT did not do well. ACT did very well. I don't know how that works.
We don't ask questions.
Yeah,
we just say,
but,
thank
like,
you so
my
much
brain
for the score.
just worked better with the ACT. So,
okay.
yeah, I've always done super well in high school, and then I got in early to NYU. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so by December, I was, like, kind of coasting the rest of senior year, but obviously still did well. And then once I got to college, I was actually pre-med.
Oh.
And
what type of medicine did you want to get into?
I really wanted to be a plastic surgeon or a dermatologist. Yeah, I've always been super artistic, so I thought, like, plastic surgery would be the
We kind of marry
route.
the two.
Yeah,
Sure,
exactly.
sure.
And then my mom is a dermatologist, so I grew up around that all the time, and I was like, I love what you do. Like, it seems so fun. Like, you're not doing full surgeries, but like, you're still a doctor. So I thought I wanted to be something in medicine, and then I did that for 2 years in school. And then, you know, I did it all: the calc, the chem, the bio, the organic chemistry, all of that. And then I just realized, like, I am not meant for this. Like, this is not my calling. Like, I'm way more into the humanities. Like, I should be writing essays. I should be, like, doing analysis. Like, my heart's not in it. So
That's amazing. You figured that out 2 years in, because I feel like that is a 8-year commitment.
For sure.
You know?
That's why I was like,
Time to tap out.
Yeah, I'm like, this is 2 years in. I'm not even, like, at the beginning. Like, not even close. So I...
You said bye-bye.
Yeah, I fully was just like, I'm not going to pursue that anymore. I, like, essentially changed my major to poli-sci, but not really poli-sci, because the school that I went to at NYU, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Gallatin. It is like the liberal arts sector of NYU.
Okay.
You essentially are your own guide. You make your own major.
Stop.
So
you could be like, my major is rocks.
there were people that, like, their major was blue. The color blue.
Now, that's all fine and dandy, but you're spending $60K a year for
Like
that?
70, 80, dude. It's bad.
What a choice.
It's such a choice. Like,
okay.
but I gravitate towards that style of learning. Like,
Okay.
I like being in the driver's seat. It's not traditional at all, but I really loved it because I got to study what some would consider poli-sci in terms of like the philosophy and like the legal courses I took, but I also took classes about how like colonial film or like how rap and law coincide.
She's right and left brained.
Yeah, so it was like very much the kind of like study I needed. And
Okay.
then at the end, to ensure that you're not just getting like a bullshit degree, you have what's called a colloquium, which is kind of like a PhD dissertation. So you sit in front of a panel of 3 professors. One's like a dean, one's like a professor of your choice, and one's like a third professor. And you essentially for like an hour, 2 hours, kind of say your piece, like what you've been studying, and you can fail. You could pass or fail.
Wow.
So it seems kind of like a silly thing if you don't fully know like what it means to make your own major, but I came out with it with like so much knowledge about like film and like media studies and like law and philosophy, and like now
Okay.
I feel like I have a really good holistic understanding.
I love
Of
that.
everything, yeah.
She did organic chem to law to rap to all the things. So
Yeah.
you go through law school, you pass the bar.
Yes.
Is this at the point where you know you want to be a divorce attorney? Or were you still kind of like...
So I was, after law school, I was working for a insurance defense firm. So that,
I have a friend who does this. Is this when people try to like scam insurance, you're actually defending insurance?
kind of. So
Okay.
it's like, for example, the work that I did was like, if there was a car accident in the city of Orange County, we would be the attorneys for the city of Orange County.
Oh, okay.
And like dealing with like insurance adjusters and like the individual like plaintiffs. It's kind of boring, honestly.
I was going to say, dare I say that sounds awful.
Yeah,
It sounds boring.
like
Sorry.
the work I was doing was like, okay, well, the plaintiff is saying that the hole in the ground was an inch, but really the hole was 3 inches.
Oh, you're meant for so much more.
Yeah, which
Okay.
like honestly, no shade. Some people are really good at that.
Okay.
I and really enjoy it. I'm just not one of those people.
Okay.
And like you see some really gruesome stuff.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Like very, very traumatic, like wrongful death of like young kids. It's just like too much for me to handle. So I just started looking at, other jobs, and I landed on my current job. I just applied, and I was waiting for bar results at the time, so I wasn't even an attorney yet. And I told my now boss, like, hey, like, I'm not an attorney yet, but I am applying for the attorney position. And he was like, literally hired me on the spot. He was like, I've never had a law clerk, but I'm willing to try it out.
Stop.
You have like a good head on your shoulders, like you present well, whatever that means.
But then did you just learn as you went?
Yes,
like
100%.
Oh my God. But you were actively working for them. Did you want to cry every day? Like, how did you know how to do all the things?
So honestly, that's why it was so helpful to be a law clerk at first. Because while I was waiting for my bar results, my boss kind of took me under his wing, and he was like, I will take you to court with me so you can see what I do. Like, we'll introduce you into very easy tasks.
Okay.
And then I kind of just slowly got better and better at the easy task. And he was like, okay, well, now let's write a motion for this. Like, now let's do
Oh, he really took you under his wing.
Yeah, he was really, like, taught me everything I know. And obviously I had great mentors, like our mutual friend.
Mm-hmm.
And they were honestly also taught me like everything I know, and I'm still learning from them. I'm still learning every day. There's so much.
I also feel like laws change all the time, right? Like,
They do. Yeah.
Trying to stay afoot on all of the different, like, and then you're also dealing, okay, we have so much to say. I'm freaking out. Okay, wait, when you talk about divorce itself.
Okay, yes.
What is the number one reason that you personally see why people are getting a divorce? Because I always hear money, but I'm also not in.
Honestly, it's money, it's infidelity, it's God, it's so many things. I do think money is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Infidelity is a huge one. As sad as it is, there's a lot of abuse that we see.
Okay.
A lot of it is also, one parent putting a child in danger if there is a child. But I would say, honestly, infidelity and money are the two big ones.
Okay. And are you seeing that most of these couples getting divorced are 2 years married, 30 years married? Do you have like a full range?
It's honestly such a full range.
Okay.
We've had people that are 40 years married and have, 3 adult children, lived full lives, and they're just at a point where they're just not, they're not happy in the situation anymore, and those are relatively amicable. We also have situations where they will have been married for like 7-8 months, and like one party is claiming that the marriage was null. So for example, like they, it's not a real marriage, they're trying to void the marriage for whatever reason.
Isn't there like a time frame you can do that?
Yeah, it's usually within like the year.
Okay.
So that's why like when it's like the shorter term marriages, but some people also, for the short-term marriages, they thought they married someone, and then that's not the person scary. They thought.
Terrifying. I cannot tell you how many times I hear that, where someone marries the love of their life.
Yeah.
Granted, it's usually when they're a little younger.
Yes.
And then once the divorce process happens, they see a version of their partner that they didn't even know existed. Like, it brings out the darkest.
It really, and that's like honestly what my colleagues and I talk about, like just because of the work we do, we see people at their absolute worst.
Can't even imagine.
And so it's so hard sometimes to not take that energy home with you, because you're like, I am seeing people at their breaking point, like the worst of humanity.
Oof.
Just
how do you compartmentalize?
It's really hard, honestly.
Yeah. I'm sure people are crying in your office. It's like very emotional.
Yes, there's a lot.
Like, sign the contract.
For sure. There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of yelling. And so much of it is just people acting on impulse and emotion. Like, they will want us to do something that is not really in anyone's best interest, but just to hurt the other person. And it's kind of our job to be the rational thought and say, like, listen, we hear you. I'm not trying to dismiss how you're feeling. I know it sucks, but you hired us to kind of be that neutral brain to allow you to kind of move through this process easier and quicker.
So do people yell at you?
Yeah, people have yelled at me.
Stop.
Not like because I'm doing anything wrong, but they're just frustrated with the situation. And what a lot of people don't know is that divorce takes a while. Like, people will retain us, will open up their case, and 2 months later they're like, why am I not divorced? And I have to explain to them, like, there are certain procedures we need to do in order to even get to that stage. Like, it's not just a one and done, like, boom.
So then are you getting paid by month? Are you getting paid by meeting? Like, how does the payment work?
So we usually take a retainer that's like X amount, and that usually covers the preliminary thing. So like opening up the case or responding to the case, having like an intro call with the client. Once that retainer is fully absorbed by the work that we've done, we just bill hourly, and then you get an invoice every month. So
it adds up.
It adds up, and
Okay.
that's also something that people, I think, don't realize. Like every call, every email,
Costs money.
every time we go to court, it's money. And like sometimes people will chat my ear off for an hour and a half just to vent, and like I'm happy to be their therapist. But
Therapy might be cheaper.
Yeah, in the interest of just like helping them, I'm like,
Sure.
just to remind you, like, I don't want to come off crass, but like you're being charged, and we've been on the phone for an hour and a half. Like it's expensive to hire an attorney. But so yeah, we're hourly.
Hourly. So then, do amicable divorces also take a long time, just by nature of the beast? Or is there a world where a divorce can take 2 months?
I mean, sure, it could take 2 months, but just based off of the procedure alone, there are timelines that people have to meet.
Okay.
So, for example, if you file a petition, one party files. The other party has 30 days to respond.
Okay.
And then from that point, both parties have to do what's called preliminary declarations of disclosure. So long term, just to say, you kind of lay out your finances. You lay out what's at issue. Like if there's a home, if you have like a 401k, if you have, super valuable china that you think you're going to fight over.
Stop.
So yeah, so both parties have to do that. That usually takes a bit, just because you need, in an ideal world, you would want receipts of everything. But, you still need to do like the mortgage of your home, like how much equity there is, if there's like a home appraisal, if, you have your 401k, you need to provide all those statements.
You're saying both parties need to provide that?
Both parties.
So that's assuming that both parties are down for this divorce. Like if one person wants the divorce and the other person's like, catch me on the other side of the planet.
Well, and that's often what causes delay. Like one person sometimes doesn't have an attorney. So obviously doing it alone without help, it's really hard. Like you don't know what's procedurally correct. You can just fill it out, but you don't know that you need to attach certain things. Like
I feel like you could get screwed over pretty easily.
Totally. And that honestly has happened to, other parties that, we haven't represented, but we've been, on the other side, and they go into court without counsel, and it's hard because I feel for them, but obviously I'm trying to look out for my client. So that's kind of where the humanity comes into it, and like I feel bad, but I am there to protect my client, not them. So
do couples ever come in together? Like can a couple hire you together with a divorce, or does it have to be an individual person?
So no.
Okay.
So it would be a conflict of interest, just because both parties, to protect both parties, usually something will be at odds. So like, sure, if you're splitting a house, you're splitting the proceeds 50-50, fine, but one party might want to keep their 401k that they worked really hard on that has like 500k. The other party wants half. One party might only want to give them 10% of it. So that's where it would become kind of difficult to,
Okay.
But that's not to say that the parties, husband, wife, wife, and wife, can come to you with an agreement saying, hey, we have worked this out together. We just want to get it formalized with the court.
Okay.
Can you prepare this? That's something that we could do, because it doesn't really have to do with us going to court, us advocating. It's just one of them would hire us, but they've already come up with the agreement, so we're just formalizing it.
Okay. And do you predominantly deal with straight couples?
Honestly, I'd say like 75, but there's a good
Okay.
chunk of non-straight couples. Like, we kind of have a whole bag of
Just
clients.
mixed. Everyone hates each other and is ready to start a new chapter.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
honestly really refreshing to get all walks of life, to be honest. Yeah.
Then what's the nastiest thing you've seen someone do or say in the process of a divorce? So either someone being like, I'm taking it all, you're going to be living on the street, or has someone like called you a nasty name? Like, is there something that has maybe been locked away in the subconscious that we've wanted to black out?
Oh, honestly, I would say one of the nastier things I've seen is people. So, the one thing with family court is you can lie quite easily. And so what I have seen in a particular case, I won't say the name or divulge too much information, but a lot of people file false motions. So a motion is like a request to the court.
Okay.
And one person filed a completely false restraining order against the other parent, claiming like sexual abuse of their child.
And your client filed the...
No, our client didn't, but the other party.
Person? Okay.
And we're just like, what the hell? Like,
and
literally,
was that
what
because
the
of
hell?
child custody? Like,
It's
they
because
wanted...
of child custody and support.
Okay.
Just because they
Okay.
want money. And it's like, we know our client, like, we ask them, like, we are the people you need to be honest to. Like,
Sure.
I am trusting you. Like, did you do this? Sometimes a client will say, like, yes, I did do this 5 years ago. I was not in a good space. They're remorseful, and we try to rehabilitate that. Other times it's like, no, this is completely false. Like, she's, guided by money. She just wants child support. She just wants custody of the kid. Like, all of these things. So I would say that's pretty... I just don't know how someone could do that. Like, no matter how much I hate someone, I just... A restraining order is, like, so intense. Like, it goes on your record. You're in the criminal system. Like, it's nothing to joke around with. So I think that's...
People will go very far lengths for...
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to think of the child custody of it all. Like, I'm sure something triggers in your brain where you want to protect that child at all costs, but at what cost? Like, if you're lying about your spouse doing something? No. We don't know. Candidly, maybe your client did do something bad.
For sure.
We don't know.
For sure.
We weren't there. Who knows? But I think that, like, feral, carnal desire to,
crazy.
like, protect your child. I can't imagine the child custody piece. Does that also take a lot of time to, like, iron out agreements with the kids?
100%. It's... Most of the clientele that we deal with have young kids. So they're just at the beginning.
Oh, God.
They're, like, 2 years old, 3 years
Okay.
old, 4 years old, sometimes as old as, like, 2 months.
Oof.
So when you're at that early, infant to toddler stage, this kid's got 16 plus years left.
Right.
So
Right.
just because there's a particular custody arrangement that works for them at 2 months old doesn't mean it's going to work for them at 10 months old, or even 3 years old, or even 10 years old. School gets involved. Extracurriculars get involved. One parent will move 20 minutes away, which in LA, that
Is
could be
3 days.
40 minutes. Yeah.
Correct.
So it's so evolving. It's never just like one and done.
I was going to say, I'm assuming people can go back to court to
100%.
do the rules. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's like, we have quite a few clients that, we were their attorneys in 2016, and now they're back being like, she's crazy, or he's moving the kid to Washington without my approval. And it's like, we have to like step in and like try to fix it.
Well, there's like kidnapping things too.
Yeah,
or like
there's
if a parent takes a
kidnapping,
kid, without
child
the other
abduction.
person. Yeah, it's a... Oh.
It's truly, there's never a dull day.
Oh, I can't. I'm sure no 2 days look the same.
No.
It's always so. Is there a common thread with the cases that you see? Like, is there something that is just like a cardinal truth with everything?
Let me see.
Are they ever peaceful?
Honestly, I'd say for every peaceful client, there's like 10 chaotic, impulsive clients.
Okay.
There are peaceful clients, and they are a pleasure to work with. I will take their call.
Those.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will take their call, answer their email, split second. There are other clients that I will also take their call and answer their email, but it's just like I need to take a deep breath before and like lock in, and they just require a little more attention. But you know, it's part of the job. You kind of learn to deal with it and just take a deep breath. And
well, then where do you feel the most fulfilled? If like all of this has its really chaotic, intense parts, like are there moments, whether you're in court or where you, I don't know if win a case is the right word, but like when do you feel, I guess, the most fulfilled?
Yeah, I definitely would say in court, you definitely can win a case. It's truly, you know, I think it's really fulfilling when you are there with your client in court. Is that me?
That was me. How about that? How about that? I tell all my clients to put their phones on silent. My shit's just dinging.
It's okay. Mine's been vibrating. I wasn't sure if you could hear.
They're saying hi to each other, honestly. Good Lord.
Yeah, I think it's really fulfilling to win a case and just to know that you've helped someone in, you know, their darkest time. It really is their darkest time. And there are some clients that are so thankful and appreciative, and that's when it really just like, you know, I leave skipping, hopping from the court, like give them a hug after, and they really do make you, you know, feel seen, and then the work that you do, I think, is also accomplished and recognized.
Yeah.
I think a big thing, if you ask any divorce attorney or family law attorney, they'll say there's no winning, like they're never happy, and that usually is the case. Like even if you kill it out there, for lack of a better word, on the, you know, in the courtroom,
on the dance floor,
yeah,
yep.
and like have a great argument and get what the client wants, like a lot of times they are just like, thanks, but this still isn't what I wanted. I wanted the exchange to be at Costco, not Starbucks. Something like that. And so I think when you do have clients that really are appreciative of the work that you are doing, because it's not easy, and you know, you win, I think that is so fulfilling.
I'm sure.
And you know, I've done a few restraining orders, which are essentially like mini trials, and those are also extremely
wait,
fulfilling.
Restraining order for your safety or restraining order for your client?
For my client.
Okay.
For my client, yeah. So if my client you know, files a restraining order to be the protected party, and I win that, that's the best feeling in the world, because, you know, they've been through, you know, abuse. Sometimes it's financial, emotional, physical, and as woman to woman, like, especially helping a woman, it's such, like, an unreal feeling to just feel like you're protecting someone. It's... yeah, I don't know.
It is this like weird dynamic of dealing with the most emotional part of our lives, being intimately involved with someone and sharing a life together, and then putting on like an express Tilly's blazer and then going into court on a Tuesday to talk about like your crystal glasses. Like, it's weird. It's very bizarre. I'm sure it's so taxing on all ends. Like, it's dark. You know, I'm sure I'm sure there are couples who still do it out of love and are just like, we've run the course and let's keep it cute and nice, but I don't think that's always the case. And
No,
yeah.
it's definitely not. And I honestly am a child of divorce. And my parents, I always think about them as like the gold star. Like, they divorced after 36, 37 years.
Whoa.
Easy peasy. Like, my dad was an attorney, so he didn't hire one. And my mom got an attorney. Easy, done. You take this, I'll take this. Like, well,
It's possible.
It's so possible.
It's possible.
They now, like, we are getting dinner, all of us, for my birthday next week. And I just think, like, they are truly, like, a shooting star. Like, they're
the gold standard
literally
of divorce.
so amicable and friendly. Like, my mom remarried.
And your dad's, like, chill with it.
And my dad's
They're all
chill
friends.
with him.
Oh.
Like, that's always what I think in, like, the back of my mind. I'm
Sure.
like, I know it's out there. Like, I will find it again.
Oh.
So all of that, obviously there's so many mixed emotions, but I do think about my parents, and I'm like, I know it's possible.
Totally.
So, and I have had some clients like that where it is super easy. It's just, that's not the norm.
Right.
I would say.
Right. Oh, girl.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do a little trivia.
Oh, no.
Are you ready? They're just 3 little silly-ass questions. To be honest, I never know the answers to them. I act like I do, but I don't.
Okay.
Number 1, what is the only word in the English language that ends with MT? M as in Mary, T as in Tom.
MT.
MT. The only word that ends with MT. Girl. I'll give you a hint. It's a past tense word.
Does anyone ever get these right?
Randomly. I'll get like 1 in a blue moon. The amount of amicable divorces is how many people get these right.
MT? I have no idea.
Dreamt.
Stop.
I know.
I was expecting it to be like some super obscure
No,
verb.
dreamt. Who would have thought? Yeah, we'll put that.
Well, now I feel like
we'll
an
store
idiot.
that. Oh, girl, please. What was the first
Dreamt.
video game to be played in space?
In space?
Mm-hmm.
Pac-Man?
Kind of close. Tetris.
That.
Were you going to say that?
It was between those two.
Oh! Girl, you know. Okay, in the Matrix.
Okay, which one?
The first one?
Okay.
The only one? The movie?
Okay, well, there's...
I think the first one.
Okay.
Does Neo take the red pill or the blue pill?
Stop. That's just a trick question, isn't it?
There was an answer, allegedly.
Stop. I haven't seen The Matrix in so long.
Trust your gut.
Red?
Yes.
Okay.
Never fuck with a woman's intuition.
I was like, God, I was like trying to replay the scene where they're in his hands, and I just...
Which one does he go for?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to talk about pre and post nups.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're very pro prenup.
Yes.
Like that
Yes.
is a necessity no
Yeah.
matter how much you love your partner, right?
I think so, yes.
What percentage of your clients come in with pre or post nups?
Honestly, usually what happens is they will retain us just for the prenup.
Oh, so people can hire you right when they get married? Or
Yeah,
before they get married?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Which we have a lot of people do that just
Okay.
to be cautious.
Uh-huh.
Usually what happens is like sometimes they will have, let's say we have wife and husband doesn't have an attorney. We will just need to make sure there's like a notary there. And essentially it's this very long agreement, lays it all out.
Okay.
And they sign every page. It's honestly a pretty quick process, actually.
Is it expensive to hire an attorney to do do you need an attorney to make a prenup, or do you just need a notary?
I think you should always get an attorney for a prenup. Maybe
Okay.
not both of you, but at least one party should have an attorney to do a prenup, just because.
But you both need to sign it, right?
You both need
Even
to
if
sign
one
it.
person hires?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So how it would work is Yeah, I highly advise getting an attorney to do a prenup, just because in the off chance you do get divorced, that sheet of paper is meant to lay out the whole divorce process. You know, in the event that you guys split up, it should make the process easy. So if one thing is not checked, if one, you know, leaf is left unturned, that can kind of open up Pandora's box for if you guys do get divorced.
Well, as I said, can you still get screwed over even with a prenup?
For sure. If something is just written
incorrectly,
you guys can get divorced 10 years later. You know, the other side's attorney can say, well, this is vague, so we're going to try to argue that this is like void or something
make it
like
airtight.
that. Yeah.
If both parties are down, okay, so let's say you make a prenup.
Okay.
Tight as can be.
Okay.
You get divorced 20 years later.
Okay.
If both parties are down to go against something in the prenup, can you change it? Or not change it, but like have a different... So let's say the prenup is like, Mary gets the china. And what if Sally's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I want the china, and Mary's like, you can take the china.
Yeah.
Can they take...
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
So it's not like whatever is written in this prenup is God's word, as long as they both agree.
Prenups usually, and honestly, most documentation filed with the court or with both party signatures, it's meant to be kind of like the guideline. So if there's an agreement, let's revert back to this. But you guys can come to whatever agreement you want that suits you both. If you guys both agree that, you know, Mary takes the china, great.
Tits out.
Lovely.
She gets it. Okay.
Move on.
Okay. Is there anything that you, for anyone who is about to get married and join forces, is there anything that you think is an absolute must should go in the prenup? I'm sure there are a lot, but is there something that you think people miss a lot of the times that should be considered?
I think, I mean, it's so dependent on what that particular person values.
If no two prenups probably look the same, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Like if one person is a super high earner, that's really something to consider at the beginning. Just because if you're married for more than 10 years, spousal support is permanent. If you're married for under 10 years, it's half the length of the marriage. It's super technical.
Okay.
But I do think spousal support is something really important that people overlook, especially if you're like the high earner. I also think if you are starting a business, that is something that should 100% be written into the prenup, because the business could be worth $100, but let's say you make the next Google. That will be half of, you know, your partner's.
So treat the early on assets businesses as if they already were successful.
Exactly, because you never know what's gonna happen. Like it could fail, and that's kind of a reality sometimes, or it can be really successful. And some people don't. By default, the appreciation of the business would be 50% of, you know, the other parties. So I do think that's something that people should consider. Just businesses.
So many technicalities.
That's why it's hard to say just one thing, because it's so dependent on the parties. Like even if you don't have a lot of money, it's still helpful to have one just to make the process easier. Like,
I feel like there's stigma around it too, and I get it. Right before you get married is like, to some degree, a cupcake phase, right? Like you're still so excited to get married and start this new life together, and oh my god, how exciting. But like if we were to get divorced, you're already talking about divorce before you're married. Like that's a wild concept, but I think the hope is that you do love each other enough that it doesn't matter. This won't happen.
Exactly.
But just in the weird off chance that it does, we're both protected. Like
exactly. And that's honestly, I think, the kind of narrative that you need to use when you're talking to like another, to your fiance, it's
Right.
like, it's not just for me, it's to protect both of us.
Totally.
It's really just in the off chance. Just thinking ahead, just being cautious. I don't think there's ever been a downside to being cautious.
Totally.
So,
Why not?
Yeah, and like,
And you see the worst of it. You
Yes.
see the ugliest version of it.
Yes.
So, like, if anyone you should listen to,
yeah.
please, coming from someone who is single from my end, well, you mentioned you're a child of divorce.
Yes.
Or I guess an adult of divorce, right?
An
'Cause they
adult. I
got-
was 19.
Okay. Are you in a relationship now?
I am.
You are. Long term? Have you been together for a minute?
Yeah, it's been like 3.5 years.
Okay. Can I ask, how do we feel about marriage?
Yeah, so I am so for marriage.
Okay.
I think
It hasn't tainted your view?
it has not.
Okay.
I still have, the 5-year-old romantic, like, I don't know, just super happy, idealistic version of it.
Yeah.
I love my boyfriend so much. He loves me. Like, it's something that we talk about pretty frequently. He's a year younger than me, so we're kind of waiting. But it's definitely something that we see in our future. Yeah, I'm not super jaded by the thought of it, honestly.
I love
Which
that.
I think people are surprised, but everyone in my firm is actually married.
Wow.
I'm the only one that's in a relationship.
Does it affect your relationship at all? I mean, even just the stress of the job, or are there things that you see at work where you're like, could he do this to me? Or like, does it create any sense of paranoia?
Honestly, so my boyfriend is someone where I do unfortunately put a lot of my like work stress on him. So it does affect him in the sense of like, girl, just like relax, like,
Which is
you're
just what we want to hear when we're stressed.
yeah. So
Hey,
but like
relax.
he is the only person that can like calm me down after, or like binging like Grey's Anatomy for like 10 hours. But yeah, so in that sense it does kind of affect our relationship. Like sometimes I'll just be too stressed to like be fun, or like, I don't know, like have sex. Like sometimes I'm just too stressed.
Oh, 100%.
And I just like, I'm not fully
Don't breathe
there.
near me. Don't
Yeah.
even put a pinky toe on me.
Exactly.
Right.
But generally, like, it doesn't really affect our relationship. There are times where something absolutely just bonkers happens that I hear or like read about, and I will tell my boyfriend, of course, without divulging so much information, but just like the hard points, and he's like honestly in shock with me, like in complete awe. So I'm never really paranoid that he's gonna do anything, just because he kind of has the same reaction as me. I feel like, as corny as it sounds, we kind of like share a brain.
What's that like?
But honestly, it took a while to get to him.
Okay.
I've dated like a ton of people that have
We've kissed some frogs.
many frogs,
Okay.
many toads.
Well, it sounds like also because you see a lot of darkness in people in your job, you are probably hyper attuned to those qualities in other people. And I'm sure you would have seen something by now in him if he was a dud. You
Yes.
know, again, I'm sure the nicest of people it can bring out,
Oh, for sure.
you
And
know,
it does.
and
It really
I'm
does.
truly can't imagine. Are there any topics or things you think couples should discuss before getting married? Like any, whether that is, you know, signing a prenup, or just any logistical points that you think are like very important to get on the same page about before
Yeah,
tying the knot?
I definitely think kids are huge. We do see a lot of instances where like one parent really wants a kid, the other doesn't, and that kind of creates a dynamic where one is more of the primary parent than the other. And that ultimately does affect custody later down the line, just because the particular child has more of an emotional bond and connection with one parent.
Right.
I also think, just off the top of my head, I do think having a conversation about finances is huge.
Yep.
I think that goes without saying, but whether you're going to have a joint bank account, whether you guys are going to split all of the bills from that joint bank account, I do think if one person is the primary breadwinner, there's a huge disparity in income. Talk about what that will look like. Like, is one parent going to be more of the homemaker than the other? Because that affects support down the line, and that affects, for example, if you and your partner agreed that they would work and you would be the stay-at-home parent or homemaker, and let's say it's 10, 15 years down the line and you haven't worked and you guys get divorced, you not having worked for those 10 to 15 years, there's nothing on your resume. That does affect you later down the line if you do ultimately have to get a job to support yourself in a more meaningful way.
Sure.
So things like that, where I just think it's important to have a financial plan. I think ultimately kind of goes back to our first question. Money is huge. As much as I don't want to say it's important, money is so important. Whether you have a lot, you're just starting out, it's really important to have
your relationship to it.
Yeah,
I have a weird time discussing money. I think that has been passed on generations.
Same.
It's such a bizarre concept to also think about, then melding money together and
100%.
Trusting someone with a joint bank account. I probably need to discuss this in therapy, absolutely. But it's
you're
bizarre.
touching on exactly why people need to have a conversation, because my relationship with money is so different from your relationship to money.
Yeah.
XYZ, and
find a way that it works together.
That's such a hard conversation to have when, someone might have grown up with a lot or not, and then you date, having to mix those philosophies together takes a lot of work. And I definitely think you should have that conversation before you get married.
Totally.
Because then, one person might be spending $40K on the credit card, and, the other one's really frugal, really great with money. And then you're dealt with okay, well, now we're getting separated and there's all this joint debt, but the other person spent it. It just causes more...
Yeah, he will be spending none of my money, and I will be spending every single penny of his. Thank you so much. And that will be in the prenup.
Of course.
Okay, you've made it. You've done it.
Yeah.
We have our final question that I ask every single person.
Okay.
And it is, is there anything that you wish more people understood about you? As Alex, as a divorce attorney, anywhere in your life where you feel, I wish someone understood this about me. It can be a PSA to your clients.
A PSA. I'm a human.
Yeah.
Is to my clients. They will call me at all hours of the day and weekend. And I do think they forget that I am not on the clock.
What are boundaries?
Yes. But no, I think as a person, I do think I'm really, really fun and super outgoing, but it just takes a really long time to get there. I'm very shy. So I do think you just gotta be patient with me.
Yeah.
As a person.
But she's in there.
But yeah, she is in there. I'm not extroverted at all, but put me in a good environment and she will creep out.
I love that.
Slowly.
We'll find a dance floor. We'll find a little bar
table.
Yeah,
I love to dance, but people would never know.
She has range. I love it. I love it. Well, in the meantime, I am going to enlist your help to help me find a tall, outgoing introvert. So if you know any recently divorced gentlemen in your practice, yes.
Okay.
Keep me abreast. You're a dream. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.